All right, everybody got your Bibles? Go to Deuteronomy 28, start out with. We're going to move around a little bit, let's see here. Deuteronomy 28. I can't find Deuteronomy 28. I keep it on 26 and 30. There it is. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is, and the reason I'm even talking about it, I don't know if y'all have Spotify. They got a free thing for Spotify, and one of the guys on there, and I can't remember his name, but his name of his thing is Rightly Dividing the Word of Truth. And he's a doctor and a professor, and he was talking about the covenants and what the problem was with Israel and why they couldn't accept it. And we're going to talk a little bit about it, but it was really neat because what he uses and what Jesus used, I never really put together. Because you read stuff and you're just reading it. You know what I'm saying? You're not really thinking about it. Sometimes you think, well, I got to get my reading in, and you read. And then somebody would ask you what you read, and you couldn't tell. And especially with me, because I got a short memory anyway. But I'll read like Psalms, and I have to start back about 3 Psalms back because I don't remember what I read every time I go. But it doesn't hurt you just getting more Bible in you. But so I wanted to go back to the Old Testament. You know what the Old Testament is, right? It's history, but where the Old Testament, the Old Covenant God made, when did it start? Y'all remember? It started in Exodus 19. They gave 20, gave the 10 Commandments. But the covenant actually started with Abraham, with the circumcision. He gave him the promise, and he gave him the circumcision, and the circumcision was set him apart. And the circumcision is the beginning of the covenant. And why was the law added? Because of disobedience. Because they didn't do. Remember, he came into Israel. He came into Egypt, and he said, hey, I'm going to set you free. Did he ask anything for them? No, he did it in Jehovah's and grace. He saved them by blood and by power. They got out on the desert, got over the Red Sea. What was the first thing they do? Wah, 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 wah. I can't drink this water. I'm sick of eating this manna. And so he gets to them and he says, man, look, go to them and say this. And if they agree to it, then that's what we'll do. Now, they couldn't accept Jehovah's of grace, but when he gave them something to do, what did they say? We'll do it. We'll do it. Moses went back up on the mountain. He's up there 40 days. What do? They already break it. See, the law was to show how sinful we are and how sinful Israel was. It's not a system that we can attain to. Look, Deuteronomy 28, the law is based on blessings and cursings. So it says 28, the things that bring blessing. And if you come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee, this day the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. But if they don't do that, what happens? But if it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord, to observe and do all these commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee, this day, that all the curses shall come. So it's a blessing or a cursing covenant. It's a works-based system based on faith and received by grace. Now, how does that work? Well, salvation has always been by faith, by grace through faith, regardless of wherever you're at. But they do these things because they love God. The problem with it is they started making it a system by where remember it says in Deuteronomy, this shall be our righteousness. We don't need God to do it. We got his rules. All we have to do is do it. We do his rules and we're right with God. That's why we're not sinners of the Gentiles. Okay? So what does faith do in that kind of system? Faith does whatever God asks. God said to Noah, build an ark. What did Noah do? He said to Abraham, get out of your country, leave your kindred, go where I tell you to. The land I'll show you. What do? He did. And it took his time to doing it, but God honored it. Okay, what is uh let's see. Abraham, he did that, and then what else did he do? He made a covenant with him and said, thy seed. What did he do? He believed. You see, so faith does. David believed God, and he had a man after his own heart because he wanted to be like God. He was not in the sense that he wanted to be worshipped, but the sense that he wanted God to love him like he loved him. That's when he sinned and he said, take not the Holy Spirit from me. See, it was conditional. That's when Christ says in the end there, and he tells them, he says, hey, you got to endure to the end. It doesn't, you got to not only just start, you got to go all the way through. That's what Hebrews 6 about. When it talks about you losing your salvation, it has nothing to do with us. The book of Hebrews written to Hebrews. So the Old Testament is based on circumcision with the law added because of disobedience. It is to bless, it's a bless and curse system. The problem was no one could keep the law, so God provided a mercy seat that set over the law. So what they did is say, yeah, we'll do it. This will be all right. And God says, there's no way they're going to do it. So let me put this mercy seat over the law and the commandments so that when they break it, there's a way to come back. What's the two things that's not covered? And murder. That's right. What did David commit? So he had to go directly to God. So no one could keep it. So God provided a mercy seat to cover the law till Messiah come. Well, what happened in the Gospels? The Messiah came. What was the deal with him coming? What was the point? Go to Jeremiah 3:16. It's right after Isaiah. And it shall come to pass when you are multiplied and increased in the land, in those days, saith the Lord, they shall say no more, the ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind. See what I'm saying? There's going to come time when the Messiah comes, what's there no need of? There's no need of the ark, there's no need of the mercy seat. So there's going to come a time when the Messiah sets up his kingdom that there's not going to be a need for it. And it shall come to pass when they are multiplied and increased in the land, in those days, saith the Lord, there shall be no more of the ark of the covenant of the Lord, neither shall it come to mind, neither shall they remember it, neither shall they miss it, neither shall that be done anymore. Let me ask you, when's the last time anybody seen the Ark of the Covenant? When's the Israel seen it? We're not even sure it was in the temple at the time that Messiah was on the earth. The last mention of it is back during Solomon's reign. So when he comes, there's no need. We got a whole world out there who's looking for the covenant, waiting for the Ark of the Covenant to come back. It's here. It's here. No, it's underneath the hill. Jeremiah buried it. No, the Ethiopians took it. It's a matter of religion, not a matter of God. Look, when the temple's built, who's going to build it? The Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to build it. That's off subject, but we'll go on here. I just left my mind. Anyway, the king in Daniel 11, he comes in, and the way he does it, he comes in by peace and prosperity, and he brings in into the promised land, and he builds the temple. Yeah. See, so he's going to come in with flattery. He's going to give them exactly what Israel wants. What does Israel want? They want to be autonomous and have their temple. He's going to give it to them. Got something? Yeah. But it talks about that he's coming back and he's setting up the temple. He's going to give Israel what they're looking for. They're going to look at the Antichrist as the Messiah, fulfilling the Old Testament law. People right now, you go and you talk to a Jewish person right now, and you just talk to them about the Torah, and you talk about the Old Testament that they have, and they say, yeah, but that's not the only Bible we have. We also have the oral Tanakh. You have the Tanakh, which is our Bible, the Old Testament, and then you have the oral Tanakh. And what's the oral Tanakh? Well, these are the sayings that God gave Moses that he didn't write down. So we got to follow those too. Well, all they are is what Jesus said. You follow the traditions of men instead of God. So they're doing all these things. They're following something that doesn't work. It didn't work. It couldn't work. It was given to them. The circumcision was given to set apart, but the law was given to show how simple they are. But they are sitting there saying, we are righteous because we follow the law, knowing that none of them followed the law. If they followed the law, the high priest wouldn't have had to come in and do what? Sprinkle the blood for himself and for the nation. There would have been no need for it. So, when Messiah come, what did he come doing? What was his purpose? To set up a kingdom, right? And fulfill the promises. What was the promise? Jeremiah 31. I guess I shouldn't whistle when I got a mic on. Jeremiah 31:31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, thou wilt make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I have made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they broke, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. That's the whole point of the kingdom. He had a law that they could, a covenant that they couldn't follow. But when Christ comes, the Messiah comes, what is he going to do? He's going to give them a covenant they can follow because it's going to be written within them. Hebrews 8, verse 7. Yeah, verse 7. For if the first covenant had been faultless, then should no place have been sought for the second. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them in the hand and led them out of the land of Egypt, because they continued not in the covenant, and I regarded them not, saith the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. In those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws in their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. So, the things that they couldn't do with the Old Testament and the Old Covenant, they're going to be able to do with the New. Where's the problem come? Well, yeah, it's time, but it's also that they don't want the New Covenant. They don't want the Messiah. Go to Matthew 5:17. Well, this is Jesus speaking. Think not I have come to destroy the law of the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. What's written in the law of the prophets? That the Messiah will come, and then they're going to have it written in their hearts and their minds. Right? Okay. We're going down to 27. Luke 5. Luke 5:27. And after these things, it talks about meeting Matthew here. And after these things, he went forth and saw a tax collector named Levi sitting in the tax office, and said to him, follow me. And he left, and he rose up and followed him. And Levi made him a great feast in his own house, and there was a great company of tax collectors and others that sat down with them. But the Pharisees, the followers and adherents to the old law and traditions of men, and their scribes murmured against the disciples, saying, why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners? And Jesus answered and said unto them, they that are well need not a physician, but they that are sick. I came not to call the righteous, but the sinners. Now that righteous there doesn't mean that they're perfect. That means self-righteous. What he's saying. He's not saying, well, they're already got it, so I don't need to go to them. They're self-righteous. They're so self-righteous, they don't know they're sick. And they said unto him, why do the disciples of John fast often and make prayers, and likewise the disciples of the Pharisees, but I eat and drink? Why are ye all so much better? Why do they think that? He said, ye make the son of the bridegroom chamber fast while the bridegroom is with them? But the day shall come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. Now listen. And he spoke a parable unto them. So these are their questions. And now he's going to give a parable to answer them. No man putteth a piece of new garment upon an old. If so, then the new maketh a tear, and the piece that was taken out and new agreeth not with the old. So you ever remember when, I don't know, they don't do patches anymore. Man, I had so many patches, they could have called me patches. But you get an old pair of rodeo corduroys were the worst. Because for some reason, if I had a corduroy that tore the D out, I'd get a flower. It looked really cool and groovy walking around with my flower on my leg. But the thing about it is, you put that patch in there and the patch don't match, what happens? It makes the tear worse. You didn't even notice it near as bad as when you had that bright orange and green. The 70s had some weird colors. They put all colors and patch on there, and it looked horrible. And he's saying, look, you can't take that old and mix it with the new. It's better to have the new. Don't hold on to the old and patch it. And the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. And no man putteth new wine in old wineskins. Now you know how wineskins work, right? And bottles do the same thing. You put new wine in a new bottle and it ages, and it's fine. But if you take that bottle and try to put new wine in it, it busts. And the same thing with the bag, because the bag has reached its point of stretching that it can. The glass is worth as much pressure that it can. And so if there's no room for that wine to expand and grow, and what happens? It breaks it. Else the new wine will burst the wineskins and be spilled, and the wineskins shall perish. But new wine must be put in new wineskins, and both are preserved. No man having drunk old wine straightway desireth new, for he saith the old is better. And there's the problem right there. For 1,500 years, these people have been living under the Old Testament, the Old Covenant, the old wineskin, the old garment. And they don't want the new. They don't want it. They want to be the ones that say, I'm righteous. They want to be the ones that say, I'm in charge. They're the ones that want to be saying, I'm special because I'm called to people, not because God has set me so. Not because He's working within me. No, I want to do it myself. I want to be the old. So you can't patch that. What do you do with something like that? The garment's ruined. You have to get rid of it. The wineskin, you can't use it again, so you don't put new wine in it. You have to become a new wineskin. Christ is saying, look, your problem is you're holding on to something that's passing away and not cleaving onto something that's coming. The old wine's better. See what it says? No man having drunk old wine straightway desireth new. He hasn't tasted the new. How does he know if it's better or not? He's refusing it because you ever seen wine snobs? And they do all this stuff. Oh, this is, but amen. You don't know if you're not tasting the other. It could be better. But they don't want what Christ is selling here. They don't want the new covenant. They don't want it. So what do? They kill him. They take him out of the city and they kill him. The four Gospels is Christ presenting the kingdom, presenting the new covenant, and them rejecting it. And Acts, first part of Acts. Go to Daniel 9 real quick. So, Daniel 9, he gives us the parable of the 70 weeks. It says, verse 20, and while I was speaking in the prayer of the confessing of my sins and the sins of my people Israel, and presented my supplication before the Lord God, this is Daniel, for the holy mountain of God, of my God, yea, while I was speaking in the prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I have seen a vision, and being caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation, and informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplication, the commandment came forth, and I came to show thee for our greatly beloved. 24. 70 weeks are determined before thy people upon the holy city to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make a reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, the new covenant. You see that? Okay. So that's 490 years. And seal up the vision and the prophecy, and anoint the most holy. Now, therefore, to understand that from the going forth to the commandment to restore and build Jerusalem unto Messiah, Prince, shall be 7 weeks, 62 weeks, and the streets shall be built again, and the walls in troubled times. And after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the Prince shall come. So, in order for that new covenant to come, if you have a will, okay, say Ansel had a will, and that will is going to give everything to Logan. Ansel's still there. Does Logan get it? When does he get it? When Ansel's gone. Okay, so the testator had to die for the new covenant to come. It happened right there. Acts is the offering. The first part of Acts is the offering and the offering and offering. What does Israel do? They reject it, reject it, reject it. Now, where are we? The Old Testament, the old covenant's gone. You cannot go to the temple and worship and sacrifice because there is no temple. But yet, the new covenant hasn't come because the people of the covenant rejected it. But yet, we're saved. How? Huh? We're saved through the Spirit of the New Testament, but not the law. Now, how's that work? How are we saved today? For by grace are you saved through faith, and not of yourselves. It is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. But salvation we have today is not the New Testament salvation. Look, I blow it all the time. All the time. I can't flesh sins. I'm like Paul, oh wretched man that I am, who can deliver me from this body of death? I sin that I don't even know I sin. That's why Nita keeps track of it. She got it all marked down, so when we get to Jesus, she's tattling. But no, but the thing about it is that I sin and I cannot help from sin. Go to Isaiah 66 real quick. Under the new covenant, how's God deal with sin? In the new covenant, for the new heavens and the earth shall I take and shall remain before thee, and the Lord so shall his seed and the name. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, from one Sabbath shall all the flesh come to worship before me. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for the worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorrence unto all men. So there's going to come a time before this time in the millennial age that the people, when God's running in 1,000 years, and there's going to be people, what's not going to be taken away? Satan's going to be taken out of the way. The Antichrist is going to be taken out of the way. And it's just God and man for 1,000 years. So what are these men going to do? What's the problem? There's still sin in man. And so these men are still going to sin. And when these men sin, they're going to take them men and literally throw them into hell. And in the new creation, they're going to come and look at those people that had Christ for 1,000 years, had the opportunity, and rejected him. Look, we know it's going to happen because when Satan's left out, he's going to turn Gog and Magog out, and the whole host is going to come against God again. Christ at that time is going to be working as a dictator because that's the only way he's going to be able to control the world because of sin of man. They still want to be God. So if we were under the new covenant, where would we be? We couldn't make it. Only Israel's promised to have it written in their hearts and in their minds. Not us. We could not accept it. But God, by His Spirit, by His death, by the sacrifice of the testator, is able to offer us who were without hope and without God in the world, salvation without the penalty that the new covenant holds. Anyway, so let's go to 2 Corinthians 3. So this is Paul speaking, okay? Do we begin to commend ourselves, or need we, as some others' epistles, to commend ourselves, commendation to you, or letters of commendation from you? Ye are epistles written in our hearts, known and read of all men. For as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistle of Christ, ministered by us, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not in tables of stone, but in the fleshly tables of your heart. What does the Holy Spirit do? He takes you and He puts you and baptizes you into Christ's death, burial, and resurrection. So it's not written by stone. It's not them 10 commandments. It's written in your heart. And such trust have ye through Christ toward God, not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is in God. You cannot rest upon yourself. You cannot be good enough. You can't be righteous enough. You can't. The only thing we have now and during this time is God and our ability to rest on Him. For we were yet sinners, when we were His enemies, He died for us, who were without hope and without God. And they didn't even know about it until Paul came. Who hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not by letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter what? It killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. We are blessed beyond measure during this time of grace. Because we, though this outward flesh sins, the inward man is renewed day by day. We are held up by the Spirit of God, declared to be epistles. What's an epistle? It's a letter. It's a spiritual letter. So, do you realize that some people you come contact is you're the only Bible they're going to read? The only time they hear Jesus Christ's name is in a cuss word? We are saved from the old. We never had a part of it. We're not going to be a part of the new. But we're saved in the spirit of it. In the age of grace, in this dispensation, reached out to any and all who believe. It doesn't matter what sin they've committed. It doesn't matter what sin they're going to commit. God is able to save them. But the only way they can hear that is by us proclaiming the message. You don't get people saved by talking bad about them or finding out the bad things about them or saying, well, I just can't understand how people could do this. They do it because they're sin-filled people living in the flesh. If you don't have God, what else do you have? Let us eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. Yeah, but they make fun of me when I say something to them. Well, I just don't have enough. Shame on you. If you don't have enough Bible to tell somebody how to be saved, you need to be ashamed. That's the easiest message in the Bible. How do you save? How are you saved? Believe in what? That Christ died your death for your sins, was buried your burial, and then He rose again from newness of life so you can have life. That's it. See, but what the world wants to do, they want to argue about, well, do you really think the world is 6,000 years old? Yeah. Well, you think, do you think that He really parted the water? You know what that is? That's the devil trying to stop salvation from entering into them, from them seeing the light. He's trying to blind them. And it's our job to be the light. It's our job to stand. But we can't stand unless we know our place. Look, most of the churches out there today are trying to get you to follow the Ten Commandments. Now, the Ten Commandments are God's principles. They're not going to change. The problem is, we can never follow them. By the time I was 19, I pretty much broke all of them. I never killed nobody physically, but I guarantee I killed them emotionally, which is the worst murder. Sticks and stones may bury my bones, but names will never hurt me. That's a lie. I've got scars. My dad telling me I was stupid and stuff. It still bothers me. I still go to do something. I think, well, I don't know how to do this. Well, and he didn't mean anything by it. It was just the way he was raised. He was the best father I know. But I mean, the thing about it is words hurt. Words shut people off from God. Now, I've got a wicked sense of humor. And it's a little mean sometimes. I mean, I would never talk about somebody being 60 or anything like that. But, but the thing about it is you have to wonder what you're putting out. You're an epistle for God. Now, how's that epistle read? Now, look, not everybody's called to go out there. Everybody's got the right and the purpose to go out and be ministers of reconciliation and to be ambassadors. But some people are not called to stand up here and preach, okay, or teach. But the person who cleans the church, that's just as important as the man that's preaching. The person who prays for the church, the person that gives to the church, the person that prays for the lost, the person that's recording the messages, the person that supports the things that go and make sure the kids get to come. Them are every bit as important as what I do, if not more important. Find your gift, find what God would want you to do, and do it to the best of your ability. Thank God we're not under the old covenant. Thank God we're not going to be under the new. God loves us just the way we are. And He loves the world. And He willingly died for it. So can He not love the world instead of segregating them out and saying, well, we can't talk to them people. God died for those people. The only thing that separates you from them is grace. Be an epistle of Christ. Let the love, what's that song, the old song? Let your love flow. Let it flow. Instead of when you look at that picture and say, gosh, I really had a hard time with homosexuals. I really did. Then I realized, you know what? But for the grace of God, there go I. There's not one sin out in that world that I am not capable of doing under the right circumstances. Huh? And it wasn't paid for. So when that person's like that, don't be mean to them. Don't shun them. Love them and show them what Christ. Look what we read. Where was Christ? He told Levi to follow him, and then what was he doing? He was eating with tax collectors and harlots, and he wasn't there. He wasn't there for the people that were self-righteous and thought they had it all going on. He was there for the people that realized they won. You remember he talked about prayer, and he said that there was the Pharisee that goes and says, "Oh Lord, thank you for this, and thankful I'm not like that guy over there." And then there was the tax collector, which I think was Levi. I think it was Matthew. What did he do? He couldn't even hold up his head. And he said, "What? Who left justified?" You don't understand, and I'm going to say this, and it might just be contrary, and it might even offend you. You don't know how dark the world is. There's women out there that love God that are selling their bodies because it's the only way they can feed their children. I've known them. Now, should they take and walk in faith? Yes, they do, but they haven't got the faith yet to do it. Do you think God doesn't love them? There's people out there that are selling their bodies, homosexually selling their bodies right now, that only have a certain little prayer that they've learned, and they say it every night when they climb into bed because that's the only thing they know because of the father's abuse for them when they were children. There's people out there that are drunkards today because their fathers and their mothers got them on it. There's people out there who never knew the name of Christ, who are taught that that's all lies. There's people out there that are reverting back into fantasy and mental illness to keep from living the life of bleakness that they have. And he says, I love them. And I want them. I died for them. I paid for their sins. Please tell them. Please share. And rejoice that we're not in the old wineskin and we're not the new wine. We're in this age of grace where he saves by the Spirit and not by the letter. Rejoice and be glad for all that he's done for us. Be thankful that we found each other and we have a place to go and a place to come together. Do you realize that right now, and I'm a pitiful preacher, I understand that. But there's fine teachers out there, man, that can make the words just twist and tell, and they're telling lies to thousands. And I would rather have this poor, pitiful gift and be able to tell you the truth than have those thousands. Any questions? When you read this book, it reads you. You're going to get out of it exactly what you put in it. If you want to be right, it's going to give you a verse to hang yourself on. But if you want to let God be right, he'll give you the desires of your heart. Not financially and all that stuff, but peace and joy and love. Do I struggle sometimes? Absolutely. Is it aggravating when I need something and I don't have the money to buy it? Because something's always coming up? Well, guess what? That's life. Every time something's always going to come up. But I've never failed. God's never let me fall. Now, I've failed and I've fallen. But he's never let me where I don't have a way of coming back. He loves me. He is my Abba Father. And I don't deserve it. I don't deserve to stand up here. You know, guys, like I told you before, if you've known all the things that I've done and the things that I've been a part of, there's no way you would listen to me. But it's okay, because if I know what everything y'all done, I wouldn't be speaking to you. Let's rejoice in it. You know how lucky we are. I know I keep rambling. But how lucky we are. We get to read this freely. We're not hidden and hiding. I was listening to the story of Watchman Nee. Y'all know who's familiar with Watchman Nee? Watchman Nee was a Chinese uh, evangelist. He came up. He was brought up, and he decided at 17 he become saved, and he decided that he was going to preach and teach the word, and he started a movement, and they weren't taking any money and stuff like this, and some of the people were starving that was working for him, so he went back to work in his father's pharmacy, and a lot of the people left because he said he was trading, but he was not working for himself. He was working and giving the money to the people so they could survive, the missionaries that he'd sent out. Well, anyway, he's doing all these things, has a great movement and grace. He's got a lot of books out there. But he gets caught by the Communist Party, and he's sentenced to 15 years in 1952. He dies in 1972, and he's never been released out of prison. But all that time, he's praying and writing letters and teaching. And his life is full, even in a 4x4 cell. Because he quit letting the things of this world be the issue and let Christ be the issue. I mean, we have to have the living. We have to make a living. You know, we have to have a way to provide. But it's from God. Now, how nice a car you got? It's from God. You wouldn't be able to do it if God hadn't blessed you. Or how big your bank account is, it's from God. Your health, it's from God. It's a roulette wheel. You know what genes you're going to get? There's a cancer out there that is genetically in every one of us. It's called sin. And there's an evilness out there that wants to use that to separate us from God, whether we believe or not, and wants us to not know the truth or to teach others the truth. Be the counteractive to it and stand up for God and fight against the sin you see in the world. Look, when the show comes on and has nudity in it, I don't care how good it is, turn it off. I'll give you an example. I was on Facebook, and on this Facebook, they have these little babies, and they had the babies talking, saying stuff, you know, like the one saying that, how was it at grandma's house? It smelled like mothballs. She's only like the age of our little baby here. And it says, it smells like mothballs and bacon, you know, and just little funny things like that. And I was going to show Larry, and I went over, and it's on Facebook. And I reached over, flipped it, my hand touched the screen, and the next thing you know, there's a girl with her butt sticking out like this, with her pants pulled down. So it's all around. But you don't have to look at it. You know, you don't have to be a part of it. It's your choice. Be an epistle written and represent Christ in all we do. Who wants to press out? Any questions? Go ahead, Logan.
Father, thank